Hello, 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 hello. I think we're live. Yes, we are. We're live. You may or may not want to watch this. This is something completely off the wall and different, but I want something different to do rather than keep doing stuff in Blender all the time. Although one of the purposes of this video is to eventually end up with this logo in Blender. Which is relatively easy to do once I've actually converted it. Now, I don't know whether you want to listen to any stories or whatever, but basically I've been a user of Serif probably for 24, 25 years, maybe even slightly longer. I mean, I remember Serif when they kind of first started, and they came on the market as a bits of software. So I used to use nearly all of their products. I think I've mentioned this before. I used nearly all of their products apart from their photo software, which was CRAP, in my opinion, because there was just so much. GIMP was better than their photo editing software. So that was fine all the way up until about 6 years ago, when they then decided they were going to change their branding, change their software. Everything just ended with regard to the old Serif products, and they moved over to the new Affinity products. And I've stuck with the old products, but like all pieces of software, they have a cycle. They come to an end at some point. There's nothing wrong with the software. It's just that with everything else moving forward, if you're just a hobbyist and you don't do anything professionally, you can use old pieces of software and they'll still work. And I've been using Draw Plus. I think out of all the pieces of software now that I used to use, which they've all slowly but gradually sort of fallen off of the edge of the earth, with regard to their professional level stuff. And Draw Plus is really the only one that I have continued to keep using, pretty much several times a week for ever since, because I use it for all sorts of stuff. The problem now is, of course, is that I've finally taken the plunge and invested in, because I haven't really spent any money apart from Corel. I haven't really spent any money on the graphics side of things at all. And to be honest with you, Corel, yeah, it works. It works. It's okay, but it's kind of not, in my opinion, I don't think it's really industry standard. Not really. Let's just say it's not the first program I go to when I edit photographs. I use another piece of software called ACDC. And again, I've been using ACDC pretty much from version 1.0 or, version 1. And I just, after the debacle with Adobe going over to subscription-based rip-off, which I then just absolutely stopped using Adobe products. Corel's kind of got me out of a hole every now and then, but to be honest with you, I've relied a lot on ACDC. As digital cameras have got better over the years, they don't need so much editing anymore. I mean, I used to edit RAW files all the time back in the day. And Photoshop was very, very good. And the RAW, I can't remember the name of the RAW program, the RAW editor, and it used to be good. Anyway, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to give you a bit of background as to where I've come from and where I'm going to. And what has that got anything to do with this? Well, this is actually a client logo, which is a relatively new client logo that I kind of redid for them as an idea for a black and white. Their color logo wasn't going to look really. It doesn't look really very good on clothing. So this is their color logo, and they didn't. And this was it. This is their highest quality graphics, which, in my opinion, just doesn't really. It doesn't really work. It's grainy. It's soft. There's no real clarity to it, which is fine for web stuff. But other than that, they, as far as I'm aware, they haven't got, original artwork. So I kind of took it upon myself to design this using Draw Plus, and they loved it. They absolutely loved it. So much so that they've now got mugs, t-shirts, sweatshirts, all sorts of clothing. Mouse mats, you name it, they've got it kind of using this logo, and it's very, very popular. And in fact, I liked it so much that I actually bought clothing myself, because I'm a registered CMA member anyway. So yeah, they loved it, and it kind of took off and became very, very popular, and I think is now still one of their staple things. The issue I've got is that I have now got the full suite of Affinity software. Photo, which I must admit, I am now thinking that I may now even drop Corel. And the only thing that I will use, because I used to use the Serif video editing suite, which at the time was fantastic. I mean, it just worked. It was simple, it was straightforward, it was obviously very cheap. At the time, it was very compatible with all the current standard formats, and at that time I was shooting Canon. I'd been a Canon Pro user for 30 something years, and that all kind of changed around 2015 when they dropped all of their software, the older software, and moved over to Affinity. I at that point had moved because I wasn't really very happy with Canon. They weren't moving their digital technology forward very well, and their stuff was aging rapidly, almost on a half yearly basis. And I was a Canon 5D user, and I had a whole range of lenses. I had multiple bodies, and I mean, it was expensive kit, but my God, it was just archaic to work with. As the standards and expectations of digital imagery became more and more and more, Canon were just not moving. And so I made a decision to move over to Panasonic, because Panasonic were just at the time, maybe not so much now, although I'm still a very big Panasonic user, but they were absolutely wiping the floor with their technology and their cutting edge stuff with the GH series of cameras. So I took the plunge and moved over to, at that time, the GH cameras. Little by little I sold all my Canon, because obviously I'd been a Canon user for such a long time, and I just eventually moved over until I just took the plunge with selling my last body and Canon lenses, and just went straight 100% over to Panasonic. And of course at that point then Serif video editing just couldn't cope, so I had to make a decision then. This is a history lesson, but it's relevant, I think, because I don't chat enough, I think, on this channel a lot of the time. I don't get an awful lot of interaction, so I'm going to talk. But anyway, so long story short, everything with Canon had gone. Although I kept the Canon flash guns because one, they're really bloody expensive. They're also, I think, in my opinion, some of the best on the market. I'm not a Nikon user, so I don't know, but I guess the Nikon equivalent is obviously, you know, the dog's bollocks. And it worked with Panasonic in manual mode, which I shoot manual mode anyway, so I didn't care that it was, you know, not TTL and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, of course, then, you know, almost the last nail in the coffin has been for Serif software, has been Draw Plus, which in my opinion is still an excellent piece of software. And that's what I use. Like, I want anything, you know, I design websites and such like for people, any artwork and anything along those lines, icons, small amounts of graphics. I've been using Draw Plus. Now, as you can imagine, I've been using Draw Plus for 25 years or however long it has been around for. I've got I've probably now thousands of pieces of artwork and files. And it's worried me that at the time when Serif decided to change their software and there didn't seem to be an upgrade path, there was nothing. There was like, hello, we've now built a brick wall with regard to our old products and we're moving forward with Affinity. And I was quite upset with that, and so were an awful lot of other people. It wasn't just me. But anyway, there was no upgrade path. There was nothing. There was no conversion for your files. Absolutely nothing. And interestingly enough, I searched today to see if there was anybody that had produced a conversion program from DPP to Affinity Design. And nope, there isn't. I found one forum message somewhere that talked about how to that there wasn't an option to convert your files, and that the only thing they suggested was to save them as SVG, which I hadn't even thought about. I don't know why no one else ever said it. So I thought, with this new Affinity software, which is very compatible SVG to Blender, as I've done a couple of videos on that, I thought, I wonder, can I get my artwork out of Draw Plus and into Affinity Designer? And sure enough, you can, but you can't export out layers. You have to do everything individually. But so I'm kind of now thinking, okay, unless there's another way of doing it that I don't know of. To be honest with you, I haven't tried PDF. The only problem with PDF is the quality just drops through the floor. I mean, the PDF stuff is just, again, it's crap. It's okay for flyers and online stuff, but you want high quality graphics. This is an A3, just to give you an example, this is the equivalent of an A3 page at 300 DPI, so it's pretty big. And I design a lot of stuff, things like logos and such like, on an A3 page. I just always have done. So the only way I have been able to get this out, and it's been messy, but it is doable. That's the thing. It is definitely doable. So text, obviously, I can just pick up the font. I've got the font. That can be used in, it's just easy enough to just, I'm not going to export this stuff out. But things that obviously matter with things like logo or graphics, and obviously, this graphic here, I mean, somewhere along the line is really quite bad. This kind of man, I don't know what you call that. It's like an infinity, isn't it? Infinity man or something, which again I kind of redid that. Obviously you've got these lines here in the background that go round. I mean, this is just, you know, if you look at their original logo, this is how their original logo is. I managed to actually find the artwork that they'd used for that. And they've got this rather strange kind of greeny brown thing behind. I don't know quite what that's supposed to signify. I don't really know. So apart from starting from scratch, which I do not want to do, and this is a simple logo, I've got some really complicated stuff with massive amounts of layers and things like that. There's just no way, you know, an easy way. So I think I'm probably still going to have to use Serif Draw Plus for quite a lot longer, but I think not for anything new. I think I'm only going to be using it so I can keep my old files. I can get access to them, obviously, but I think now everything needs to really come over to Affinity. You know, this is the cycle of software. This is just the way things go. You know, it's like when I stopped using Photoshop, you know, Adobe products. You know, thankfully, PSD files are fairly universal now. But, you know, I literally had hundreds of thousands of digital files that I was thinking, oh my god, I now can't edit these anymore. But of course, you know, PSD became kind of a standard file format. So it was okay. It was alright. Now the only way that I can get, and I've been playing around with this, different formats and such like, the only thing that I can do, because I've got grouped curves on here on multiple layers, I've got artistic text, I've got graphics. You know, there's a real mix of stuff here. And this was the beauty with Draw Plus. It was very adaptable, and there were some really nice things you could do in here which are not available in the other versions now. One of the things that I really quite liked was the instant 3D thing, and then you also had shape builders, you know, rostrum camera. I mean, there was some neat little things that came in. You've got this roughen tool. I've not seen that. You've got a perspective tool, which is now only in the photo software and not in anything else, although you can chop and change the filtering, the live filters I think they call them, into the other versions, which is, you know, not so bad, but it's just a workaround. Other things that I really liked about Draw Plus were things like, you know, you can bring in a graphic, for instance. Let's bring in, I probably need to be a little bit careful what I'm opening up here, but I don't know, have I got a picture of some sort? Yeah, I've got, no. Okay, let's just, I think that's just a lump of wood. So I can bring an image in. This is obviously something I built a long time ago. So you could do things like Cutout Studio. You had an auto tracing, so it converted this graphic into vector graphics, which was really neat. And then you had this built in. So this is predominantly vector graphics, but it had photo capabilities on bitmap, you know. So, you know, you had this kind of built-in studio thing with adjustments and effects, and, you know, I mean, it was pretty neat, you know. And there was a lot of effects that you could have on here: styles, distortions, blurs, motion blur, you know. I mean, it had a lot. It was a very comprehensive, and again, you could layer all these filters here and play with all the adjustments, you know. But one of the things I used to use a lot was the cutout tool. The cutout tool and the auto tracing. Again, those things are not, and I've heard of other people talking about this as well, you know, because these things are really, really good for making logos and bringing bitmap graphics into a vector program and cutting them out and all that kind of thing. As you can see here with this graphic, you know, it didn't really come out very well, but I'm holding my hopes high that Affinity will get around that problem. So yeah, you know, so what I've been doing is ungrouping a lot of these vector graphic groups, and slowly but surely like bringing in the artwork and saving the artwork. So let's say let's say I want to bring this in. I don't think it will do it because it might do it. Okay, so what you do is you just go File, Export as a picture. Okay, now the problem being you lose all your layers when you save stuff as vector graphics. So SVG is selected groups. You always make it 96 because then it's 1:1 scale ratio. You can play around with this, but usually you muck it up. So I just put down inline raster images. Compatibility mode, you've got two. Inkscape doesn't work, Adobe Illustrator does, and I'm guessing it's a very old version of Adobe Illustrator. And then you've got conversions. I've ticked the draw text as curves, because that, again, if you don't tick that, it doesn't really work. So you just export this out. If I just call this 03, because I've already done an 01, so CMA logo stuff. What happens is it obviously saves it as an SVG file. You can now go in, so I need to be in vector mode. I can now place this in here, and it's version 3. I can open that up and I can bring that in, and there we go. It works. It works, and it works rather nicely. The problem being that was a grouped object in Draw Plus. It's now a flattened object, vector graphics object, here in, and it's already converted to curves, which is quite interesting. I don't think it is actually curves. It says it's curves, but anyway, I don't really care, because at the end of the day, I don't mind if I have to bring stuff in multiples. That suits me fine. So that is exactly what I have done here. So this is their logo. I just brought the artwork in for reference. I've separated everything out, so obviously the wording, which is quite crucial, and then this thing behind. Now I might actually redo this, because literally these are just pen lines, and it did bring them in. It's fine, it's absolutely fine. There's their original logo, obviously. In fact, I even think that is that vector node tool? Yeah. Wow, it actually brought that in as vector lines. Very interesting. This is graphics, this is bitmap graphics, this thing here, but I think it also converted it to curves, it did. Okay. So that's where we stand. It's a laborious process, but I think not as laborious as designing something from scratch again. And this also gives me an opportunity to make it even better than I could do in Draw Plus. If anything, I'm going to redo this backdrop. I don't like this oval. It came over okay, but I was not really able to cut it out. So I might actually redo it, because it's a simple graphic to do. So that's where I'm at. Bit of a long story, but hey, I can chat. Wow, it looks like we're going to get a really big snowstorm. It's black outside. I think I'm not pushing. I just love software that works. That's all I care about. Very nice video I saw today, actually, from a guy that was a really big fan. Apparently he's a professional graphic artist, and he was kind of the same attitude as me. I came across his video pretty randomly, actually, but he big Adobe fan, big Apple Mac fan, all the rest of it. But you know what he said, and he's now on a big way an Affinity fan. He still has to use Adobe apparently in his profession a little bit, but he says predominantly he is now an Affinity user. And I've seen over the last year or so, I've seen too many professionals say that, and that's what's convinced me to move over. The icing on the cake for me is the fact that it works with Blender, that I can produce stuff very quickly in Designer, and hopefully now obviously in Paint, and I will use the desktop publishing program because I've got a lot of work in what used to be called Page Plus, but nothing crucial, nothing as much as it was. Draw Plus was my go-to tool, really, with Adobe, with Serif. And in my opinion, I downloaded various versions of Affinity Designer, and I just thought, you know what, I don't think it's really as good as Draw Plus still. And I did that for year after year, and really this is the year that I think, in my opinion, especially with this new upgrade that literally happened after I bought it, which convinced me even more that Affinity for me really is now the toolkit that I'm going to be using. And as I say, the icing on the cake is that it will work really well with obviously web design and Blender. Just works. It's brilliant. I did something, well, that Victorian kind of Gothic building. I designed the ironwork for the sign with chain links holding the sign, and it was just so easy to do it in Designer, to lay out the vector graphics and then just bring that straight into Blender and edit it. It was just a dream to be able to do perfect curves and do that kind of design really easily. And I've had quite a few comments on Discord about it. People can't believe that that I'm using Designer with Blender. A lot of people are not aware that you can do that. So anyway, I'm going to let's just leave that like that for now. I'm just using this one as a reference more than anything, so I can get an idea of scale. I want to get this logo done because I did have problems with this gradient and this graphic here. As you can see from the original artwork, I don't know, I couldn't really understand why you had this really horrible kind of white line thing going around. There was something that wasn't really working very well anyway, but the logo wasn't pretty. You don't ever really see the logo that big, but so what I want to do is, let's just clean this. One thing I miss, and I need to find out why I can't do this. I used to use this grey area here around the outside for dumping artwork and getting it out the way, kind of off of my art board, I think they call it. And I don't know why, but you can't seem to do that anymore. Because it was quite useful to get it off of your, you know, like to dump it over there somewhere. But if I do that and let go, I won't know that it's there. Because it's kind of sitting behind some kind of thing. Anyway, what I want to do is just move these elements over. I think I have saved this. Let me save this again. Anyway, I hope I haven't bored people to death with my story of... I'm going to redo this oval because I think Affinity now can do things like this a lot, you know, a lot easier. I mean, it's also quite interesting to see how things changed. A bit like streaming on Twitch. It's kind of when I started, I tried streaming on YouTube, and people even now still keep complaining about the same things about YouTube streaming because it's difficult, it's not intuitive. It's the same with Facebook, you know. And then you use something like Twitch, and now Twitch has got, it's not perfect. Twitch has got its problems, and it's got its bugs. Like I had this bug for weeks about the audio disappearing. Again, still no explanation of it. And if you look on their forums, there's literally thousands of people have the same problem. And it seems like Twitch is still not really sorting the problem out. They don't know what it is. They don't know why it happens. You know. But anyway. So yeah, and it's not only until you start using something that you begin to realise, oh wow, you know, this has been around for a little while and it makes life so much easier. I mean, literally with Twitch, click of a button and you're streaming. You try and do that with YouTube or Facebook. It's just, and then try using it as well, or try interacting with people. It's impossible. It's just really impossible. And even now people still complain. I saw a video that was done, what, less than a week ago by somebody who was trying to stream, they were streaming also about Infinity software. And they were doing it on Facebook, and they just found it an absolute nightmare because people were making comments and you know, viewing and blah blah blah, and he couldn't reply to anything, you know. So anyway, I want to bring that in. I might redo these lines. I think these lines are fine at the moment. Yeah, they're good. I mean, yeah, there's nothing wrong with those lines. I think that came in. You see, this is the beauty with exporting out as SVG in 96 dpi, which is apparently the recommended resolution. It like gives you that 1:1 resolution, so that I think that is also now fine. I want to reorganize my layers, which is this one. So I'm going to do a new ellipse. I might move... I might redo these actually. What is this one? Okay. No idea what that is. Doesn't seem to be anything, so let's delete that. Wow, this is looking pretty spooky out here. You've got the sun shining and the sky is black. Yeah, I think the proportions of that are absolutely fine. Now, the key thing was this. Now, it seems to have got rid of the issues with this. So that kind of goes like Ooh, okay, so really, okay, so these lines here kind of went with those lines, right? The other I mean, there's just so many things I've noticed about Affinity. The accuracy, it's like they've really sorted out the accuracy. Before, the accuracy in Draw Plus was kind of hit and miss, and if you zoomed in enough, you know, you could see that it wasn't actually really very accurate. It would be nice to get a nicer version of that man bit. I don't know what you'd call it really, but you know, from this distance it looks absolutely fine, and when it's printed out, it looks absolutely fine. Now this logo goes down quite a bit, and it looks like it goes down to about there. Okay, so yeah, okay, so that's fine. Let's save that again. So now we've got a box behind. Now I want this. Where is this logo? So we've got this whole group. That's one group. I'm going to dump that down the bottom. What is that? Oh, okay. So that's the circle. So we're kind of working right. Okay, that's fine. Let me just dump that up there 1 minute. And that's that one, right. So we've got those two down there. That is that one. That next one is that one. That is the structural lines, and that's the actual CMA kind of logo. Let's save that. Right, I now need to type. Let's just use artistic text. So we want to call this registered member, and I know what font that is. So I've got to put this box in, so it kind of is smaller than, so it's about, I think, a size 20 font maybe. Yeah, roughly. There's just so many things I love about this. The snapping is amazing. I've enabled the grid view at the back here, and the fact that you can move things around, and the lines get highlighted and grids get highlighted, and so you know exactly that it's in the middle, and you know that it's, you know, horizontally aligned as well. It's just brilliant. There's not a lot bad I can say about it, really. In fact, I haven't come across anything that I don't like about it. Right, so let's edit this, and that should say the Complementary Medical Association. And it works really, really well with a tablet. I never really found that Draw Plus worked. It worked, but it wasn't really designed for tablet use. It didn't seem to be anyway. It was a bit clunky. That actually, no, I don't think it is actually bold, is it? No, I don't think it is bold. Looks better bold. Yeah, maybe bold. Yeah, okay. Let's save that. And the speed of Affinity is amazing. There is, you know, if I was getting sponsored by this, that'd be fantastic, but I'm not. I just love software that works. Give me a piece of software that works and does the job and does what I want it to do, and that's exactly what this chap said this morning on the video that I saw. He doesn't care what platform, you know, and he learned from somebody else who said pretty much the same thing. It's not about the flavour of software or who makes it or what platform you're running it on or what computer, you know. And again, I've never really understood this whole battle between Apple and PC and all that malarkey, and whether you're using Windows, Linux, or, you know, iOS or whatever it's called. I mean, who cares as long as it works, you know. It doesn't really matter. To me, it's all about the tools. And it's the same, you know, with photography. People do the same, and they get really hung up on branding rather than functionality and being able to actually just produce the goods. And I mean, I could tell you some stories, you know, that I used to have with weddings. I mean, it, you know, there was the Uncle Bob. Uncle Bob always had, you know, you'd go to a wedding and you're charging, you know, however much money you're charging for doing a wedding on anything, and of course you've got all your equipment and whatever, and, you know, and you go there and you've got Uncle Bob who's going around taking photographs of everybody on his, you know, £5,000 body camera with a £10,000, you know, zoom lens, and he's got the best camera bag on the market, and he's got a bag full of other, you know, equipment and whatever. And there was always somebody like that at weddings, without a doubt. And they would be standing in front of me while you're trying to take photographs of groups, and, you know, and it's like, yeah. These are the people that have got the most expensive graphics card in the world, and all they do, you know, and all they're using about 5% of it, and they're not really utilizing the equipment to produce, you know. It's like people get into this mindset of wanting to spend so much money on the, you know, the latest hardware or the latest software or whatever, but they don't really. I see it on forums a lot. You know, they're not really, a lot of the time, they're not professionals. You know, they go on and on and on and talking about this games engine and that games engine and this graphics card and that bit of hardware and whatever. And you just think, yeah, but like, what are you doing with it? If you've got loads of money to spend on stuff like that, then fine. But don't call other people, you know, a waste of time or whatever, and poo-poo what other people are doing just because you've got loads of money to spend on hardware or software or whatever it is, whatever technology it is that they feel that they need to have right there, right now, you know. I'm pretty sure that kind of goes down to that line. Now that needs to be black, and this is another thing I love about Affinity. Watch this. So you can go from there to there, gradient, boom, just like that. It's just amazing. It's just amazing. I probably did that around the wrong way, but it's just like, what? Okay, needs to go for. I didn't look at my colours properly, but you just select one key and then you just go boom like that, and that's it. You've got a gradient, and it's a perfect gradient. You know. I could actually add extra things in here. Why is that grey? Why is that not white? There we go. That's what we want. That's what we want. Okay, so that kind of lets me... Yeah, perfect. Perfect. Let's say that middle one is as grey as we can get it. Yeah. Awesome. Look at that. You couldn't do it. You just... to do that in Draw Plus was just not easy to do, I'm afraid. It just was not easy. I want that to go down behind our Mr. Man thing, and there we go. I don't think that this original logo... I don't know why am I resizing that file. Save. I just love stuff that works. Give me a piece of software that works. I don't care really who it's made by, you know, how old it is or whatever. If it works and it does the job, then fine. But there were you know, there were quirky things going on with Draw Plus. If we look here, if we look closely here, you know, you had this problem. You had this problem going on. You had this problem going on. You know, and look at the banding and the graduation behind. You know, it's not the best, but you know, in its day, it worked. It worked, and it always it delivered. You know, but there's a line around that. That's what I wanted to just check. There is actually a line. Not a big line, but there is a line. I want to make that square as well. I need to redo this. I need to really redo that man figure. I've got the original artwork somewhere for that, so I might actually work on that. Microphone is still working, yay! Anybody? Nope, no one's in chat, I don't think. Nope. Well, Twitch is not saying anyone's in chat. The thing is, the view count goes up. Maybe people are only watching for like several seconds or something, and then seeing it's some boring guy talking about a logo. I don't know. I kind of get into a point where I just don't really care anymore. As I said a few videos ago, you know, I'm really considering whether to even carry on doing this. Right, so what I want to do now is I want to produce a cleaner ellipse here for this logo. I love the accuracy. You just hold the Alt key down and you've got like just amazing accuracy, even with snapping on. And something that I've noticed is that I don't need to keep switching snapping off. it seems to work. Like you know, you press the Alt key down. I guess it bypasses the snapping. I don't know. But again, you know, it was little things like that. They're little production things that just make a difference. You know, when you're operating on a piece of software, then one of the last things you want is to be faffing around with. Well, now I want to take the gradient off of there. Where is the gradient coming from if... There is no gradient. Right, so we've got a nice clean line around that. Let me save that. Now, this is a little bit that I don't really. No. Ah, there we go. All right, okay. So, to be honest with you, I haven't really, apart from doing stuff for Blender, I haven't really done any. This is my first time using Affinity to kind of do logo stuff. So it's kind of, you know, things are a little bit different with that regard. Since I've had this version of Affinity, it's just all been Blender, you know, and that in itself has been, you know, amazing to get. So scale with object. Now I know that there is more to this than come on. I think, isn't there... Where did I find the filters? Layer. There is something else here. And there we go, there we go, there we go. This is what I'm looking for. Right, okay, so it's next to layers. Right, okay, that's fine. So now we get a lot more options. This is what I'm looking for. So what I was able to do, I think, was do that. Yeah, okay, so we're getting there. Radius. No, that's obviously not going to work. Wow, you can add different light source. Oh, okay. So you've only got one. Oh no, you can add multiple light sources. Cool. So it's interesting how it's not kind of updating. Okay, I'm missing out on something here. So I'm guessing. So how come I'm not really getting much of a bevel? Maybe it's because I got 3D on. Emboss. Inner. Pretty sure it was pillow. Direction. Okay, so I am getting the effect. Invert. It's not really giving me what I want because the original. So if I go here, let's just go back to because it's big. See, I've got this kind of. So that was done. You see, in the old days, you would right hand click and you'd go to filter objects, and then you'd got bevel and emboss, and it would do it that way. So you had like depth, blur, soften, angle, elevation. So I mean, it kind of is giving me that embossed effect. Bevel and emboss. Opacity. Okay. This just alters how it looks, so I mean, realistically, that is what it's supposed to look like. So I kind of wonder whether, I guess I just got used to really what Serif Draw Plus used to do. Radius. Oh, that's interesting. So we've got a depth. Soften, what does soften do? Soften. Oh, okay, so soften literally softens the... Right, okay. But I think, I am not so sure. You see, they on the original artwork, they just had this gradient going around the bottom, and that is exactly what I was able to do in Draw Plus. So why is this different? Remove profile. I don't know. Ah, okay. Ooh. Wow. So that's kind of the profile we want. The radius is... Okay. That's interesting. So what do the others do? You've got outer. Sorry if I'm boring people. Hello. Pillow and emboss just seem to be kind of almost similar. Okay. So that's kind of doing what I want. It's just that there's this bit at the top which I don't know quite where that's come from. Outer. This is just seems to be switching the profile from kind of internal to external. Pillow. Okay. Okay. Let's take Gaussian blur off. Okay, so let's just assume that that gives me what I want. If I control CV, I can obviously increase that. This is interesting, but I want to take the effect off of that. So we want to take the effect off of that one, the one underneath, the one on top. Somehow I need to get rid of that other kind of thing. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's possible whoever designed the original artwork used serif. Possibly. I don't know. I mean, maybe this is just the way kind of this pillow effect worked before. But it wasn't that difficult to replicate that in serif, so I wonder what's changed. The only thing that I can think of is... So I just really want that. So if I work on that, for instance, can I not? I can't add. Ooh, I can. I don't think that's added though, is it? No. So if I convert that to curves, right, I should be able... Yes, I can. Okay, right, okay, we've got it. So basically, I want to cut that off. I want to break the curve and break the curve. Oh, no. Break the curve. There we go. And now I'm left with blobs. That did actually give me what I'm looking for. Oh. But I've got these funny blob lines things. I want to get rid of that. So, okay, right. This is definitely making me think very different about how things are done. Oh, that's interesting. Added a new mask layer. Okay. How do I get rid of those little blobs? That's what I want to know. Okay, so I'm kind of erasing the line there. No. I like a challenge. I really like a challenge. So what's different here? Right, let's go back here. Don't quite know why I've got these. Oh, right, okay. Is it because... And of course I'm altering the line, aren't I? I don't know. I don't know what the answer is to that. Is this because of this? Or this? Don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know quite how you get rid of that. It's very odd. Very, very odd. I don't really understand why that is happening. Why is it difficult? Okay, so CV. Okay, so let's work on this ellipse here. I want to work with clean graphics. Yes, I could take the cheap, the dirty route and put the, just put an extra line around the graphics there. But I want to try and understand why. Okay, I'm gonna. I think I just have to think differently. There is no fill. We've got no fill, but we've got a black line. This is... Okay, what if I... It's not a curve. What if I rasterize it? Let's just try that, okay? I'm going to rasterize it, I'm going to add an effect, and I want to create an emboss. So we've got the same problem. Right, but it's a raster. So now if I go in here, can I not just... Why can't I just erase this? It's producing this really weird... Ah, okay, hang on one moment. Okay. No, you see it's producing some very strange kind of thing. What is that? See, this is where I wish somebody would like have an answer. Somebody would like come in and say, oh yeah, what you need to do is X, Y, Z. Am I still streaming? Yeah, I guess so. I need to figure this out because I need to figure out how this works. I only want this down the bottom. Rasterize. Okay. Rasterize. See, now I would have thought by rasterizing it that I would have created why are you being so weird? I don't know. I don't know why is it doing that. Why is it doing that? We've got this really weird kind of... Has that got something to do with scale with object? So it's only affecting... Okay. Okay, so it's affecting the line. It's affecting the line. Gradient overlay. No. Bevel. It's definitely bevel and emboss. What if we just go inner? There doesn't seem to be anything happening, but you could go outer. But it's just producing... No. Okay. It's an odd problem. My only other thought was to actually kind of, you know, like generate sort of, you know, something along those lines, and then apply an effect to that. No, I don't know. I don't know. That obviously doesn't work either. So I actually created, that's the original artwork. So let me create a new thing a minute. Let's just do that way around. Create. I want to create a new, so if I create an ellipse, right, I don't want it, I do want the stroke, right? Well, actually, maybe we shouldn't have, and maybe the color should be white. Well, actually, let's just make it red so that we can see what we're doing. So I've got no line. Maybe the problem is because I've got a line. So if I create an effect and I want a bevel effect on that, no, it's done it. It's done it on the outside again. The thing is, that is correct. That's really how you would want a bevel. But normally I would only want to see the top gradient if it was in you see, that would be correct. That's the odd thing, isn't it? I don't want it to be correct. That would be the pillow effect. The embossing so if this was to be white, right, okay, isn't that giving me what I want? I think that is giving me what I want, isn't it? So I need to just lower, yeah, okay, so this is now giving me what I want, and I can adjust that. I do want to scale it with the object, but surely now I can say I don't want any fill, and then it gets rid of. You see, that's the issue. That is the issue. Right, so that kind of gives me what I want. Right. Just seems a funny way of going about it. Like, all software has got quirky things. They really do. All software has quirks. And you know, you just have to, it's learning to live with those quirks. And I know that I'm pulling my concentration face. Because, oh, I think it is actually snowing. Oh, okay. Right, so I think that's now given me what I want. Let's pull that down. There we go. The only other thing I need to do now, of course, is bring that below or on top of. On there. Okay. It's a bit of a workaround. It's a bit of a workaround, but it works. At the end of the day, it works, and that is kind of all I'm really... now that I know that's how it's done... I think... Let me save that. So, you see, this is a softer... is a softer line, as is the original artwork, their original artwork. So there must be some way of... It's this one here, isn't it? This I need to get rid of. Okay, so this ellipse with the effect on it, I need to, I think, soften this down a bit. Okay, it doesn't seem to be having much of an effect. Ooh, that fits better. The shadow. Ah, there we go. Okay. There we go. And the normal... Don't know. So the profiling, I guess, changes the way... Ah, okay. Right. Interesting. Very interesting. Right. Okay, I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that. I guess when you really look at it, it does look very... Now that I know that the beveling kind of went all the way around, but changed its profile to make it look more 3D. Again, you know, this could be just going back to the fact that the other piece of software, Draw Plus, is so old. And maybe beveling was done in that particular way where it only had a shadow on one side. But now you're supposed to have it on both sides, so my workaround for that was to just literally produce a pen line that went round the oval. But yeah, I think that's nice and clean. I like the gradient behind. That's obviously greatly improved. What I would like to do is to edit this, and I might do that. I might do that at some point. But I need to do that, I think, in the photo editor and not this. I just think that needs to be done. See, if you look at the original, artwork, it's kind of looks like it's drawn on top of this very strange sort of orangey greeny mottled backdrop. It wasn't actually really separated, so I think I can get rid of that now. So yeah, I mean, there you go. Okay, I mean, you know, this is really what the stream was about. Oh, that's interesting. It doesn't want to save the file. Okay. I hadn't altered it anyway, so... Wow, that's gone rapidly dark very, very quickly. Bear with me just 1 minute. Okay. Can I not close this down? No? There we go. Yeah, I think this looks cleaner. It looks smart. Let's hide that one. Let's hide that one. And now we've got a much cleaner, smarter... Let me see if I can edit. Oh yeah, I was playing with the paint program, which again is just... using it with a pen is just awesome. I need to play around with it a lot more. Tone mapping, persona. There's all these new things. I've not played with paint really, apart from just messing around. And the what used to be Page Plus, the desktop publishing program. Again, you know, I've got quite a few actually very, very important documents that I need to again see if I can try and convert and bring in to the publisher. I think it is called Publisher, isn't it? Affinity Publisher, yeah. Okay. Let's see if I can. I mean, you know, no one's watching anyway, so it doesn't matter. Let me open up that artwork and... There's the original artwork. Ooh, and it's vector. So that's the original artwork. It's a JPEG file, actually. Interesting. So I think realistically, I think I need to, what I would really like to do is to I love the eraser in this. It's amazing. So that needs to go right down quite small. I mean, what I would like to do... Oh, I see. I think I could redraw... Yeah. I reckon I could redraw this. I think that might actually be worth doing, because then I would have ultimately a very clean image to work with. And this could be vector, vector, vector. I mean, all of this could be just vector, and I might actually do that as a separate. What I didn't realise was that this. Don't really understand why their original graphics was so bad. Could just have been that they just didn't have any. See, I can probably get rid of that very quickly. Tidy this up. I love the speed of this software, is unreal. It really seriously is a pleasure to work with, the speed, because it's utilizing the speed of graphics on my graphics card. And apparently this is a new thing that they've brought in with the latest versions, 1.9 of all of their software. So anyway, I might have to work this. Wow, we can go down to pixel level. I might have to work this on a different. Something different. See, I don't think the quality of this is really, you know, this is really bad. I think it would be easier for me to actually just go around this with a pen tool and redo it. Okay. Right, I'm going to call it a day. I was thinking of doing some Blender stuff, but I think I will just call it a day, really. I would like to, at some point, I want to make this 3D. That's really what I wanted to bring this into Infinity for, because ultimately I want to make that a 3D file. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, as always, and I look forward to sharing some stuff. If you have any comments, suggestions, likes, dislikes, whatever, I've got a feedback form on my channel, and it would be really nice to know whether you like this kind of thing. Am I throwing in too much variety? Am I not throwing in enough variety? Am I not focusing on any one particular thing, or do you just like listening to me waffle, or would you prefer me to shut up? I mean, some form of feedback would be really useful. Okay, I'll see you in another stream very soon. Do please join.